Hello, everyone. It's Charlton. Please subscribe to my channel. Tap the notification bell. I'd appreciate it majorly. So, the story about the South Dakota Attorney General, Jason Ravnsborg, was in a fatal car accident over the weekend, and he initially thought he hit a deer, but it turned out that he actually hit a human being, hit a man who's pictured on the right, who was killed, Joseph Bover. So the details have been sort of slow to come out and very murky as to exactly how somebody could mistake, hitting a deer for a man, and we still don't know that. I think there's still a lot of it's being investigated. I think the South Dakota Bureau of Investigations is investigating. Outside agencies are basically investigating it because he's the Attorney General. The governor, Kristi Noem, she did a press conference on Sunday, but she gave out very little information. Her public safety official, the Secretary of Public Safety, I don't even know the individual's name. He spoke a little bit at the press conference as well, but he also didn't have much to reveal in terms of what happened and so forth. So, but as of last night, Tuesday or Monday night, it's just after midnight, or it's more almost 3 in the morning. Tuesday, Monday night, the Attorney General Jason Ravnsborg put out a statement providing much more like his own account of what happened, and I'll read that to you in a second. So. And this happened Saturday evening around 10:30 at night. He was coming home from some kind of fundraiser, Republican fundraiser. He's a Republican, traveling on Highway 14. And apparently, he hit something. He said he thought it was a deer and didn't realize it was a man until the very next day. Here's the account of what he says happened. That's the individual, the Attorney General, pictured right there. And very quickly, it says Ravnsborg said he was driving from a Republican fundraiser in Redfield to his home some 110 miles away when his vehicle hit something he believed to be a large animal. Ravnsborg said he called 911 and then looked around his vehicle in the dark using a cell phone flashlight. He said that all he could see were pieces of his vehicle. After Hyde County Sheriff Mike Volek arrived, the two men surveyed the damage and filled out paperwork for his car to be repaired. Quote, at no time did either of us suspect that I had been in an accident with a person, end quote, Ravnsborg said. With his car wrecked, Ravnsborg said he borrowed the sheriff's personal car to return to his home in Pierre. The next morning, he and his chief of staff, Tim Borman, drove back to return the sheriff's car. They stopped at the spot of the accident, so they were on their way back to return the sheriff's car when they stopped at the point in the highway where he had the accident. They stopped at the spot of the accident where Ravnsborg said he discovered Bover's body in the grass just off the shoulder of the road. He said it was apparent Bover was dead. Ravnsborg said he drove to Volek's house and reported the dead body. They both returned to the accident scene where Volek said he would handle the investigation and asked Ravnsborg to return to Pierre, according to Ravnsborg's statement. Ravnsborg said he was cooperating with the investigation, including providing a blood sample, agreeing to have both of his cell phones searched, and interviewing with law enforcement agents. So that's basically what he says happened, is that he struck something in the middle of the night at 10:30 at night. How he couldn't necessarily see what he struck is, I think a big question, whether his eyes weren't on the road, whether his eyes were on a phone, or whether he had fallen asleep. We have no idea, but he obviously didn't see what he struck, or else he would see there was a man and not a deer. I mean, these things, if you're not paying attention, I could see how you wouldn't know if you were looking down at your phone, and you just didn't see it. And then when you struck it after that, it goes flying in the air and you have no idea what you just hit. But, According to the family members of Joe Bover, his two cousins, Nick Nemec and his brother Nick and Victor Nemec, they were Victor had helped Joe Bover about 2 hours before the accident, where he himself had been in an accident nearby. I mean, this was like, I think, a number of different coincidences that happened in the same time frame. So at 8:30, Joe Bover had had crashed his own truck near that same place where he was hit. By hitting, he ran off the road and hit like a bale of hay or something like that, which disabled his truck and he couldn't drive it back. So his cousin, Victor, went and picked him up at his truck, and they inspected the truck, and they basically realized they couldn't fix it that night, and that he gave him a ride home. Um, and Victor thought that was the end of it, but apparently Joe Bover for some reason went back to his truck after getting a ride home from his cousin, and that's where he apparently was on his way walking back to the truck for some reason, even though he had gotten picked up and gotten taken all the way home. Who knows? He left something in the truck or whatever, and he didn't live far from the truck, like a mile and a half or something like that. So Nick Nemec tells Keoland, that's the news outlet here, News, that Bover ran his pickup truck into the ditch 1 mile west of Junction 14 and 47 at Highmore. Highmore's in South Dakota. I'll show you on a map in a second. Hitting a bale of hay early Saturday evening. Bover called Victor, who gave Bover a ride back to the victim's home about 8:30 p.m., telling Bover they would try to try to straighten out the bumper and get the pickup out Sunday morning. The next morning, Victor drove by where Ravnsborg crash happened, which is about a fourth of a mile west where Bover's pickup was in the ditch. Victor alerted the Hyde County Sheriff that his cousin was missing. Finally, 22 hours after the crash involving Ravnsborg occurred, Victor and Nick were asked to identify Bover's body. So, back to the next morning, Victor drove by where the Ravnsborg crash happened, which was about a fourth of a mile west of where Bover's pickup was in the ditch. So on the map here, I'm gonna put myself down here. This is what's the name of that town again? Highover. Highmore. Okay, and so this is Highmore right here. This is 47, and this is 14, and that's what he's saying. 1 mile west of Highmore at junction 47 and 14, and 1 mile is about. I mean, here's 1 mile right there. It's about right there. Okay. That's where his pickup truck crashed. That's where Bover's pickup truck crashed. So about another quarter mile down the road is where the accident. West of that is where the accident happened. I'd say about right there. And this is like a water tower you see in the picture that I'm about to show you in a second. So, I'm not sure what direction Joe Bover was walking. If he was walking in this direction or this direction, I just don't know. But it seems as though Ravnsborg, Jason Ravnsborg, the Attorney General, was traveling west on 14 when the accident happened, and I'll show you the pictures they have of the tracks, where he crashed. which are right there. And there's that water tower, and it's obviously on the right side of the road. So, I assume he hit the individual and then steered off the road after hitting him. I don't believe he steered off the road and then hit him. He just steered off, hit him, and then that's why he went all the way down into the grass, I assume. So if you just look at the road, I mean, it's just, who knows what happened exactly, whether, there was drinking involved, or whether he just wasn't paying attention, or whether, it was completely, just a big accident. We don't know. But I don't know. Who knows? Tell you, the phone, especially on these kinds of roads where there's not a lot of not a lot of population, not a lot of people on the road, and so that's that water tower there, just so you can see the road and how wide it is and so forth. Darn it. So, it's not a huge shoulder, particularly on the westbound side, and that's where he was heading. And I assume that Joe Bover was walking on this part of the road, and the individual swerved for whatever reason, maybe. We don't know, and it's pretty much the story there. But it's pretty unusual for sure. His story of that they just didn't know, that he didn't know that he hit a person, and that he was literally just returning the car that he had borrowed from the sheriff to drive home. I don't know how the sheriff, because he borrowed the sheriff's personal car. There's no mention of any other deputies or any other personnel from the police there, just the sheriff. I don't know how the sheriff got home if he borrowed the sheriff's personal car, but he was returning the sheriff's car, and on the way to returning the sheriff's car, he and his chief of staff, Tim Borman, I think was his name, decided to just stop at the spot where he had the accident because it was on the way to returning the sheriff's vehicle. And when he just stopped there to check it out again, he immediately spotted, pretty quickly spotted a dead man in the grass, on the bank of the road. So, it's that's a shame. And that's Joe Bover right there. And that's actually the brother of I think it's Nick Nemec, who was a former state legislator. That's why he's pictured there with Obama. And that's the story there, man. That's the story there. Thanks for watching my videos. Please subscribe to my channel. Give me a like down below. See you in the next video. Later, man.